Well, hello everybody on this Sunday afternoon. Today's project on the 04 Mountaineer, or even if you have a Ford Explorer 2002 and up, either Mountaineer or Explorer all the way up to 2010. Today I'm working on the rear brakes. Actually, it's not the rear brakes I'm working on, it's the emergency brake, the E-cable. I've taken the brakes already off. Here's what is left of the old brakes. Ridiculous, huh? No pad left whatsoever. I guess it's just how they make them, and they didn't last very long from the factory. But here are my new ones I'm going to be sticking on. And you see lots of good pad and everything. Now, I've got the hub off and everything. On the inside of this hub, you can see it's pretty rusty and everything. I'm going to clean this up and put it back on there a little bit later. That's reusable. Now, I wasn't going to make a video on how to take all this apart. It's pretty easy to do. You just got to pop all your springs and your little pieces off. And mine were salvageable. I can't even say that word today. Salvageable. And just cleaned them up and freed up my adjuster there. It spins really good. Sometimes you have to take oil, take a pair of vice grips on one end, and break loose that and slowly turn it until you get it freed up, because you want to make a little bit of an adjustment on this brake. So they're all my parts. I could have ordered these brakes with the hardware and everything, but I saved 25 bucks. You know, hey, I'm cheap. But I know what else. The other thing was I had to pull this cable off on this side that goes right there. The reason I had to pull this cable off, the spring that goes back here on the back is broken. I'm going to have to find me another spring. Now, I've already done the other side, and I figured, well, I'll grab my video camera and make a video, because I'm sure this might help somebody. I'm not sure how I'm going to get the spring off. I'll probably just cut it off or something and put another one on there, kind of spin it down on there, because you cannot get that off like that, and you can't slide it down on this end. So apparently, it's put on at the factory before they crimp this piece there. But that's my, least of my issues right now. That's not too bad to deal with. So now, like I said, I'm going to start putting those brakes on. Now, when you get these shoes, you got to remember, well, set these up. They go like this. On the bottom, you've got a place that's cut. This is where this goes, this little adjuster. I'll just set this up here real quick so you can get a good idea, because sometimes it's hard to show you once it's on. Then on the top, you get this big spring that goes on the top like that. I think you can see that. It's pretty bright out today. Goes on the top there, goes into that little hook there, and kind of hooks like that. Then you have your smaller spring that goes on the bottom, and it goes to there, and that little hole over there. Then you got your two little safety clips. One goes there and one goes there, and you shove these little nail type fasteners from the back side into this. Now these can get really you can lose some patience, because these takes a little time to get in, and of course that goes there and like that. And that's basically the setup. I think you can see that. Let me get up on top there a little bit, and that's how that goes on there. Now, first thing you got to do is make sure, a lot of guys don't tell you this stuff, they just throw brakes on, they don't tell you all the important steps. But one very important step, if you want to put these brake shoes, not brake shoes, the emergency brake shoes on without pulling this hub off and all that, you can put these on there without doing that. The secret is this big spring right here. You got to make sure these two stud nuts are between this brace right there, because you want this spring to be able to slide in and out, because I want to show you how to put these brakes on there with this big spring. A lot of people have trouble with this big spring. They can't get that on there, and just kind of make sure the stud is like between that brace there, because what happens is you've got this guy that comes in and this guy comes in like this, and when you squeeze that emergency brake, this goes apart like that and spreads those brakes apart, and that's how your emergency brake works, just so you know. I'm going to go ahead and put the camera down and show you how I'm going to put this spring on here with these two brakes. That's the first thing you want to do, and takes a little patience. You can do it in about a half hour, not a big deal. So we'll go ahead and start doing that. And I'll try to keep this camera from my. I keep throwing a shadow on everything, and hopefully, yeah, I think you can see that. So I'm gonna go ahead and start putting this together, and we'll see how it goes here. Gonna be recording. Okay. All right. I'm gonna go ahead and start these brakes on the top. Now, what I've done, I've taken both of my shoes, and I've set this up like that. I got the spring on there, and I'm just kind of holding it there, and you can see it's in the top groove on that side, and the top groove on that side. Go ahead and start one side, and let that spring slide down into that area there. Now you'll have to take a little force and pull the spring here, this shoe, a little bit, like that. And there, that is on. And as you can see, there's a little gap right there. Let me see if I can find my little adapt braces. These go in like this. You can put these in last. You can do your shoes first. They go in there like that, and what you can do is take a screwdriver or something and just kind of spread this apart a little bit, and you can get that eventually back in there. If I hold my, let's see if I can do this real quick, just for the heck of it. Yeah, see, you can kind of get that in there like that. And basically, when you pull your braking pedal in there, this spreads it apart like that. You can see that. That's how that works. Okay, so now the next step is to go ahead and we'll go ahead and start some of these clips here, these safety clips. These little guys, these can be a pain in the ass, so we'll go ahead and see if I can start one of these on. I'm going to have to use both hands, so I'll probably have to set the camera down. Okay, and like I said, now the fun starts, and what I've taken is a piece of tubing, and I've put one of those clip little nail thingies. Not sure what they call those things, but I stuck in a piece of tubing so I can kind of push it back into the bottom there and kind of hold it there while I work that clip on there, because it's very difficult. You can't hardly get your hand in there, so go ahead and see if I can get that in there. And by the way, I've got a ratchet kind of set up there, kind of holding that brake back a little bit. So we'll go ahead and see how this goes. If I can start it in there. I don't know if you can see that. So that's there. And I'll take my clip and go ahead and see if I can slide that on like that. Like I said, you got to have a little patience, because this is probably the hardest part of this brake job, is getting these clips on there. Okay, let's see if I can. I was so close that time to getting that on there. I'll try it one more time. At least the birds are happy today. Alright, I'll try this again. Let's see if I can push that down like that. Oop. Well, almost had it. So the ratchet came out. Let's try this again. This is probably a bad idea, letting the camera roll while I do this, because I'm sure a lot of you are thinking, what is he up to and what is he doing? He's nuts. Okay, just about got it in there. Oh, so close to get that clip in there. Like I said, this is a tough thing to do sometimes. That's so close. I might actually bend this just a little bit. I think that's probably my problem. It's gotten bent. It's too high up on the... Let's try that. See if that helps it a little bit. Almost got it there. It's just, okay, right after I shut the camera off there, I had to use my other hand. I actually got it in there, and you can see, I don't know if you can see that or not. It's in there. Things are a little rough to work around. So that one's in. Now all I gotta do is do the other. Don't forget to get your little vacuum line. Sometimes it'll fall out. And this side's not too bad because this up here, you can get your finger right there. Let's see, right there where that little hole is. You can see it there where my finger is, right there. The little hole right back in there. That clip will go through there, and you can actually work this brake a little bit better. So let me set that camera up here, and we'll put this one in. Alright, I'm not going to sugarcoat it. I'll go ahead and see if I can do this one with the camera rolling. So I got my finger back there. By the way, this is the driver's side. And I'm holding that little nail in there. I'm going to take a pair of needle nose. Since I'm right-handed, I'm going to have to lay down. Put my finger back in there. Let's see, like that. You have to stand up and do this. I can start it in there. Well, there we go. I was lucky there. It went in pretty easy. And then you can take the wrench out. Take the camera off the stand. And I think you can see that clip there. Now that's the hard part. That's done. All I have to do now is put these two guys in the bottom. They're pretty easy to do. You just basically try to keep your adjustment where it was before, and you put that little spring on her. So let me go ahead and set the camera down, and I'll do that. Got the little spring and the clip in there, right there. I don't know. I don't think you can see that. It doesn't look like it on the camera. That right there, and you got that spring that hooks on the bottom of that shoe there in that hole. Same over there, and them those emergency brake shoes are on. Now, to adjust this, I would probably just go ahead and take the hub, which is right here, and kind of put it on there and get a feel for it, turn it a little bit. I know it's really hard to turn these axles. If you have an all-wheel drive system, if you put it in neutral, it's very difficult to turn this. But if you don't have an all-wheel drive system, it's very easy to turn this axle because that viscous coupler in there is locking up, keeping it from turning. But you can go ahead and stick this hub on there and maybe just kind of play around with it until you get the adjustment just right. You may have to take the hub back off and get in here and adjust this a little bit more. But there's no adjustment for this on the back side of this plate, and these new plates I just stuck on there. So other than me getting a spring for this cable comes off pretty easy. It just kind of slides out of that piece up front under the frame, which is right there. There's a little hole right there that slides out. Let me just take a pair of pincers and slide it out. Then you just work it back here and you hook it into the brake system back here. That's about it for the emergency brakes. So hopefully this will help you guys out. I'm going to clean this hub up a little bit and sand this off a little bit on the inside and put some black paint on it, because these brakes will rarely ever get used. These came apart just because of rust. I mean, they weren't they're factory. You know, when you buy something from the factory, it seems like it never lasts as long as something else that you buy later, especially down the road. Aftermarket parts are pretty good nowadays. They last quite a long time. So I'll clean this rotor up and we'll stick this on there, and that's about it for the video. So hopefully if you have emergency brake issues, this will help you guys out. Like I said, I don't know. I'm going to have to figure out a way to adjust this. I may go ahead and put the wheel on, put the emergency brake on, and maybe drive it a little bit. Well, I'm actually may just drive it and pull the emergency brake while I have it neutral and see if it's holding. Alright, good news is everything's done. I got the wheel back on, and I actually took a spring I had off of an old screen door actually, and I cut it, and it's about that long or so. I measured the other side and I twisted it on there, and it's good to go. And I got the new cable. It's back on. You see the emergency brake cable's on. I don't know if you can see in there or not, but probably not. But there's the new spring and all that. So I am happy to say I have a SUV that has a working emergency brake. So there you go. Thanks for watching, everybody, and take care.